The purpose of this presentation is to provide taxpayers with information about the proposed $208.2 million bond election that has been called for May 7th, 2016. Historically, our school district and our school board has lowered the tax rate when possible. Over the past 20 years, there have been 7 instances when the tax rate has decreased. There's only been 4 instances when the tax rate has actually increased, and those 4 tax increases all dealt with a bond election. Historically, in the past 21 years, you can see that the overall tax rate of the district has dropped. In 1995, the tax rate was $1.58 per $100 of valuation. In 2005, it was $1.569. The proposed rate after this bond election is $1.54. And there are 2 types of tax rates that school districts deal with. The first one is maintenance and operations. Maintenance and operations provides for all the daily operating costs of the district. It pays teacher salaries, it pays the light bill, it pays for desks, for materials, for technology, all those sort of costs that go into the daily operation of the school district. There's also the INS tax rate, and that tax rate pays for servicing the debt that our school district would have on these bonds. Currently, the school district can assess a tax rate of $1.04 on the M&O side and 50 cents on the INS side. Those are the statutory limitations. The $1.04 can actually be increased to $1.17 if the voters ratify it in a tax ratification election, but this election that's being proposed has nothing to do with the M&O side or tax ratification. It only deals with the INS side. Our school district currently does have an INS tax rate of 50 cents, so there's no way to increase that tax rate. Currently, we stand at $1.54, as you can see on this slide. Our M&O is $1.04, our INS is 50 cents for $1.54. The way schools are funded, as property values in the school district increase, as new businesses are built, as new homes are built, as the value of existing property increases, then correspondingly over time, the INS tax rate would decrease if no new bond issues were passed. Or, in the case that the district is proposing at this time, as property values increase, the district would leave the INS tax rate flat and do the proposed projects with the additional capacity that's gained by the value of the district's tax base overall increasing. This table shows a comparison of tax rates in 2015. You see that's at $1.54. And in 2016, after the bond election, whether it passes or not, it's $1.54. The net change of this bond election is a 0 increase or impact on the total tax rate. Now, if the value of your property, or a homeowner's property or business owner's property, were to increase as determined by the Lubbock Central Appraisal District, then the tax bill could go up, but it would not be as a result of the district raising the tax rate. The district will leave the tax rate at $1.54 if this election passes. To give you some background on what is happening in the district with student population, this graph is a good representation of that. In 2006-2007, there were 2,902 students in the school district. As of October 2015, there were 5,821 students. You can see that our population has more than doubled in the last 10 years, just a little bit over 100% growth. We expect that trend to only continue. And the way the state of Texas requires school districts to pay for building programs requires us to go out for bond elections. They don't provide facility money for new construction of any substance. As the superintendent of the district, I've been here a little bit over 18 months. And in that time, this table shows you what our growth has been from May 2014, which is when the last election was held. I began in August of 2014 until now. Basically, our district, top right-hand corner, has grown 854 kids in that time. To put that in perspective for you, that is almost the population of Idalou ISD. So our school district every 2 years is growing at the rate of a 2A or 3A school district, thus the need for additional facilities. And I want to walk you through all the proposed projects that are on the plan for this bond should it pass. They are not in order of importance or order of completion by the district, with the exception of the very first project. And that proposed project is a new elementary campus. The district owns land west of University and south of 1585. You can see in this picture, 1585 is the yellow line at the top. Indiana Avenue is the yellow line on the left, and the yellow line to the right center is University Avenue. You see the red area that denotes where we own the land that we will build our 5th elementary school. Should the bond pass in May, we will build that school and complete it and open it for the fall of 2018. We anticipate somewhere in the neighborhood between 400 to 600 students attending that school when it opens. Because North Elementary, Central Elementary, and South Elementary all have populations that are growing rapidly, we would rezone our attendance boundaries and pull from those 3 campuses along with our additional student growth to populate that school. The rest of these projects I'm going to talk about are not particularly in order of importance, but they are just listed for your information. Land purchases. We would need land for an additional 3rd middle school site, our 6th elementary, and some land south of South Elementary for some expansion and rebuild that I'll cover in just a moment. South Elementary will have, in part of this bond, will have a significant renovation or rebuild done of particular parts of the building. We need a new cafeteria that's large enough to seat our students, a new office area, and many of you, if you have children or grandchildren at South Elementary, understand the traffic flow problems that we have there. And so there's a way to improve that, and that will be part of our proposed bond. You can see the picture here of South Elementary, and you notice at the top right the bottleneck that occurs because of the traffic flow. Another project would be the renovation and rebuild of a portion of Lubbock-Cooper Middle School. We need additional classrooms. We need to do something with our gymnasiums and band hall and our auditorium. So we've got a lot of work to be done at that campus. And again, you see the building at the bottom is the original Lubbock-Cooper school building that was built in 1936. It is 80 years old. Most buildings' lifespan in a school setting do not necessarily reach 80 years of age, so we've got significant renovation work to be done around this campus. A project that also has to be done but will not be evident to someone driving around the district would be the improvement of our water system in Woodrow. We've got to do some things with storage tanks and reroute some supply lines in order to meet all the qualifications that we fall under from TCEQ. West Elementary, as Southwest Lubbock and South Lubbock grows, will need a classroom addition similar to what we are currently doing at North and Central Elementaries. So you see from this picture, if you look at the top right-hand corner, we will have there are 2 portable buildings at the top center. We will take these portable buildings out and add this addition in that area of 16 classrooms. One of the goals, speaking of portable buildings, one of the goals of this bond would be to do away with most, if not all, of our portable buildings. Certainly all of our portable buildings that students are taught in, we want them under brick and mortar. Fine arts addition at the high school. Our band hall was built for about 150 students. Next year our band will be over 200. In the next several years we expect to be at 250. So while there's been a lot of work done at high school, one area that we've got to concentrate on will be a fine arts addition for not only band but theater, choir, and those programs. Another significant issue at Lubbock-Cooper High School deals with traffic and parking. If you drive down Woodrow Road around the time we start school or end school, you know how significant of an issue it is. And so our desire is to focus on the north side of the campus and move student parking as much as possible to the north side. Let me put this in perspective for you. Currently at Lubbock-Cooper High School we have 1,400 students. In 4 years, when our current 5th through 8th graders walk in the doors of the high school, in 4 years from now, if you continue the growth pattern that we've had, which is about 7% a year, we will have right at 2,000 students in the high school. If you consider our 1st through 4th graders that will be at high school in 8 years, and the growth continues, we will have 2,500 students in 8 years at Lubbock-Cooper High School. So if we can relieve some pressure off Woodrow, we'd like to do that by moving parking. You see the tennis court area just to the north of there, a little bit to the west, in order to enhance that, because we would have the ability for students to park up there and then leave the campus either to the east or the west to access Loop 493 or Avenue P and still be able to go north or south on those, hit Highway 87. You've got a variety of possibilities for them. Another project is a new central office, boardroom, and police department. You can see from this picture that the brick and mortar central office is on the right. The portable buildings that house central office employees is on the left. We have more square footage in our portables than we do in brick and mortar. As the district has grown and expanded, we don't have a boardroom or a training center to train teachers. Our board meetings are held at various campuses, but we have no central location for board meetings or for training. And we would more centrally locate this building in the district and also build our police department offices on as part of this building as well. We need a new maintenance facility and bus barn expansion. From this picture, you'll notice that there is a building near the top that has a brown roof on it in the center, and that is a barracks building from Reese Air Force Base built in the 40s that houses our maintenance department. It's just a barracks building. We have no storage area, we have no central shipping and receiving area, and with a district that has 6,000 students that we think will grow close to 10,000 students in the next 10 years, we need a maintenance facility that would handle storage of equipment, materials, custodial supplies, all those sort of things. At the bottom, you'll see the bus barn in our bus area. We're going to need, with our increased enrollment, more area to work on buses, so we'll add a bay or two to our bus facility at the bottom. One of the projects in the proposed bond is a new alternative high school that would house both our academic alternative and disciplinary alternative. Now, this is a building that's rather small. It's not a full high school campus. It's simply a place for kids that need a non-traditional approach to a high school education to be able to attend. And the location for that is yet to be determined. We're starting that program next year in portable buildings in order to serve the needs of all of our kids. Yet another project that's proposed is our Lubbock-Cooper Middle School Stadium, a renovation of it. We want to make it our soccer complex. We've started boys and girls soccer and want to make it a regulation size soccer field, which would involve removing a couple lanes of track, turfing the field, doing some ADA and restroom renovations at this facility as well. We will continue to still play middle school games here. We will continue to allow the community to use it with youth football and potentially youth soccer and all those sort of things. But it could be a really good stadium that would be used for those purposes. Believe it or not, Laura Bush Elementary, which is in its 5th year, is open with a little bit over 400 kids, and now we have 850 students there, and it's growing. And so we are almost out of classroom space there. And in this bond, it includes the ability for us to add classroom space, most likely to the south on the west end, which would be the left-hand side of the building. We will continue to buy buses for our population using some of these funds. Our buses will last a long time, and the district has done that in the past. We'll continue to need to upgrade our fleet of buses. Also in this project would be a new turf and track service at the Pirate Stadium. This won't happen in the next year or two. It'll be 4 or 5 years down the road most likely, but the lifespan of those surfaces is right at 10 years. And with everything going on, the number of games played there, our turf takes a beating. So we've got to upgrade that when the time comes. We also need to add additional tennis courts. We want to replicate our current number of tennis courts, which is 6, and we would build just to the north of there an additional 6 tennis courts as part of this bond. One other piece of the bond deals with something that, again, the public won't necessarily see all the time, and those are roofing replacements and upgrades and our HVAC upgrades. But as those buildings age and those heating and cooling units age, we have to replace those, and that's an important part of providing a quality learning environment for our children. Technology upgrades. We will continue to upgrade. If you know what's going on at Lubbock-Cooper schools, we have a huge emphasis on technology integration into the classroom in an appropriate, safe manner, but it's very important that we continue to provide the technology infrastructure for our kids to be successful 21st century learners. And the final list of projects would be baseball, softball turf will need to be replaced sometime in the next 10 years. We feel like the growth will cause us to build elementary number 6. We also feel like the growth will cause us to build middle school number 3. We think that there could be a need for additional classroom space at Lubbock-Cooper High School, and finally, eventually, a new competition gym at Lubbock-Cooper High School. So this $208.2 million bond election should cover the school district's needs for the next 8 to 10 years. We have 2 choices. We can either go out and do this and call this bond as our board has done, and hopefully not have to call another bond election for the next 8 to 10 years, or we can just simply go out 2 years at a time and call a bond every 2 years. So I want to make something clear to people that are considering as taxpayers how to vote on this. Number one, we cannot access the entire $208 million at one fell swoop. We'll only get $30 to $40 million a year. And so you can see the plans we've laid out cover facilities at almost every campus, and we feel like that we can manage this building project very well doing it that way. The bond election dates, the board had to call the election by February 19th. They called it on February 18th. May 7th is election day, and early voting would begin on April 25th and end on May 3rd. Should you have questions or need more information, feel free to contact the Central Administrative Office at Lubbock-Cooper. The best way to do that is to call us at 806-863-7100. We'll be glad to answer any questions we can.